What's up, everyone, and welcome to Clear Talk. So, yes, in this video, we are going to talk about or question: is Trump trying to start a war? And that's like, and the idea of like he's tried to start a lot of shit already. But I mean like a full on war, like, and I wouldn't even argue that it would potentially even really be a full on war. But anyways, because we have a lot of tension being created in the Caribbean and against Venezuela. We already talked about previous in a couple of videos back where it seemed clear that Trump was has always been this idea that behind the Republicans trying to keep him in power. It has been a concern about 2028 and what they would try to do in order to get him into a third term, or whatever the case, or just not have elections, or who knows. But and round whether or not that could actually happen or not. But the recent idea was even floating and humored by Trump, was the fact that he sees Putin, holding on to power there because of war. Netanyahu holding on power in Israel because of war. And he kind of made this, humorous thing about, well, if who knows, we might have to postpone the election if we are, happen to be in a war or something like that. Or, he's thrown that around. So we kind of humored that before. But I thought, well, even if he does do that, it would probably be further into, maybe the third year or so that he would attempt to try to start up some shit with somebody. But it doesn't seem like they're wasting any time on this. He's got Rubio in his ear pushing, because Rubio is a war hawk. He has not liked Venezuela. He does not like Maduro. He's wanted that as for a while now, for shit to be started there. I mean, you already had in the first Trump term, they tried to do a coup of Venezuela. The whole pretending that Maduro wasn't the president, that it was I can't even remember the other guy's name, but a plant there, and acting like that was the leader. This other person was the leader, and it was this whole big overthrow thing, or attempted overthrow, kind of a soft coup, if you want to say. And that didn't work. Maduro pushed him out, took his claim, which he rightfully at that point, I think, was, as far as I remember. And what we were propping up was just a lie. Just like we're pretending like Maduro wasn't the leader. And whether or not you want to argue fair election or not, either way, he was the leader. It is another country. We should stay the hell out of it. So since that didn't work, now it seems like we're getting a little bit more aggressive. And all under the veil of drugs, cartels, and stuff. That's what the argument is about. We have had we've sent warships down there. We have the biggest appearance of warships and everything down in the Caribbean that we've had in decades. And it's a little disturbing, to say the least. We of course, during his little announcement about in his little announcement about moving space operations from Colorado back to Alabama, he just sort of flaunted that real quickly about how we just blew up a ship in the Caribbean. It was a ship from Venezuela. They claimed that it was the gang member Tren de Aragua, and that it was it's potential that there was drugs on board and coming, that we've been trying to stop coming into the over the U.S. border or whatever. There was no like operations to verify this or like released that we have verification that this was the gang members, that we have actual evidence of drugs being on there, whatever. It was a small ass boat. It wasn't even like a ship. It was a small boat, hardly big enough to have enough drugs to even like be that big of an issue. But we blew it up. 11 people died. And the problem with that, for me, immediately, that it just sort of annoyed and pissed me off, was that why are we just blowing this shit up? Who are we? Like, what are we doing this for? I mean, are we suddenly like Israel, would just blow shit up without any evidence of anything? I mean, is that what we're doing here? It would have made more sense for us to try to actually stop the boat, move the people off, check out the boat, confiscate the drugs, like as proof. Like we are just, instead of going through any kind of proof process, and even if, like I said, for the idea of confiscating these drugs so that they don't get anywhere else, and proving that this, as proof that this is coming from Venezuela, so that you can't even have any denial from Venezuela, from Maduro, that it was on there. But instead, we just blow them. We just blow them up. We just execute them. Like, how does that prove anything? What does that do? You're just blowing shit up for shit's sakes, for shits and giggles. Like, it's unprofessional. It's unwarranted and arguably illegal. I mean, what are we doing here? And since then, now we have grew the amount of warships and stuff. There's 7 to 8 naval warships in the area. Over 4,000 personnel in the area. Troops have been deployed there, naval and stuff. Threatening Venezuela, putting the whole situation in a direct U.S. aggression. I mean, an invasion possibly. You have Maduro pushing back, that they are armed and ready, for whatever we want to do. I mean, why? Why? Outside of the fact it's because we straight up have been wanting control of Venezuela for a while now, of their resources and everything else. We've been trying to overthrow the government there and put in our own puppet government so that we could take over. I mean, for it to be another backyard U.S. controlled nation, because I mean that clearly is the idea of some people in America, the continued like aggression to land grab. I mean, that's all Trump has been doing since he got into office, has been talking about, Canada being the 51st state, or taking Greenland, or taking Panama, getting in a war with Mexico and the cartels. And I mean, is all he wants to do is fight everybody around us and on the North and Southern America, continents. I mean, it's like down to Venezuela now. I mean, it's like they think that U.S. expansionism is the key for us to be able to control everything in the Americas. That the United States of America is the greater Americas, and that we should be in control of all of it. I mean, what's next? Are we going to take over, you know, Brazil, Chile, Argentina? I mean, Colombia. Who are we? Are we going to take over everybody? Are we going to, you know, is that the idea that we will eventually have control and power over everybody in the Americas? I mean, that seems to be certainly, or at least part of that, on Trump's mind, is that some part of his legacy would be U.S. American expansionism. Making America, I guess that's what he thinks, making America great again. Is just making it greater in size. More land means more opportunity for him to place a Trump Tower? Build a, resort. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And so we have, and now we're pushing against Venezuela. We already have, our hands all in the genocide of Gaza and everything else Israel has been doing over there. I mean, they just, did a huge attack on Yemen last week, killing the head, whatever, the supreme leader, whatever he's called over there, and pretty much his entire cabinet. I mean, for whatever reason, it makes no sense whatsoever because it's not Houthi controlled. I mean, they weren't part of the Houthis, and the Houthis were what was causing any kind of direct problem for Israel. So that none of that made sense. It's like well, y'all are not doing anything to control the Houthis, so we're just going to kill you too. Like, these people in power, and I'm not trying to say it's all Republicans, although it very much was a resemblance of most of the Republican Party. But this is what they do. And don't get me wrong, Democratic Party, there's a good chunk of it that has the same type of mindset as well, or a similar type of mindset. There's certainly war hawks, the Hillary Clinton branch and everything. Like, they're certainly war hawks that constantly want to keep us in war or take over this, take over that, resource grabbers. This is what we have. And this is what Washington is made up of. But right now, the Republican Party is in control, and I feel like big difference between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, even though they both have their branches of it that are huge warmongers. The Democratic Party at least tries to go about it. Well, they try to go about it in kind of a slick, under the radar kind of thing. A more humanitarian kind of way. Where the Republican Party, and especially under the control of Trump right now, just seems to be like, fuck it, we're just going to blow whatever we want up. We're going to take over whatever we want. They have no restrictions, no remorse, no morality in it. This is a disturbing moment, and something that is concerning for the next 4 years. And how much problem, I mean, we if it's not enough that we have all the tariff problems that Trump has introduced, causing, prices to increase, and we have slow job growth right now happening, or damn, unemployment is going up. We have all these things happening. They're trying to attack all these different departments and stuff, and things that benefit in the actual citizens. Then on top of that, we're in this thing with Israel, causing all kinds of like loss of respect and criminal acts, international, just and then to do this, blowing up a boat with no actual evidence shown as to their allegations for what the boat carried. We just blow it up. Drop a bomb. Drop some missiles on it. They are the mindset of judge and executioner with no proof. It's the same kind of mindset as pushed them in all the actions they've done with immigration and immigrants. The whole, we don't need the rules. We don't need the laws. We do what we want. Just kick them out, take them, put them wherever we want. It's the same kind of mindset that you had with Doge when it was, in heavy bloom, going into everything that they wanted to go into with no control, no oversight, no anything, just attacking, different departments, firing people left and right that they turned around would have to rehire because of, the importance that they carried in their position. I mean, this is the continued chaos of this administration. Shoot and ask questions later. Destroy and ask questions later. And honestly, I'm not even sure they're asking questions. It's just making up lies, covering themselves, blaming whoever else they want. Like, well, if so-and-so or this and that or whatever hadn't done this, we wouldn't have been forced to do what we did. We were forced. It was outside of our hands. It was outside of our power. We just had to do it as the only option. We had to strike. We had to destroy. This is what it takes to get America great again. I've been talking about this, the constant destroying of our relationships across the world. Losing the respect, losing the trust of allies, potential allies, and quite frankly, turning the U.S. into a terrorist state. Yes, that's right. I said it. The United States is turning, actually, no, it's already a terrorist state. We are no better, no different from Israel, Russia. Honestly, we're no different from ISIS or Al Qaeda. Because we think we are all powerful, we are arrogant, controlling. We shoot, we arm to the brim, overflowing with arms. and not as a deterrent, not as a defense. Trump was right when he said that renaming the Department of Defense the Department of War was better suited, because it is. It more accurately reflects what the U.S. does with it. Would I want it to do that? No. That's not what I'm saying. I would prefer it be an actual Department of Defense. I would prefer that our strategic measures and our operations practices and stuff internationally was more on the side of just defense, protectionism, and like diplomacy, working with people, trying to bring them into the fold, trying to grow relationships, trying to, but no. It seems that all the people that are in control of the department and of our executive and everything, all they care about is power and destroying. Imperialism, colonialism, the absolute worst of America. They're not making America great again. They're making America greedy again. That's what they are. Make America greedy again. Thank you very much for joining me. Let me know what you think. I'm not even sure I could say I really stayed completely on topic here. I went off in different directions, but it was overarching that, we've got to stop this stuff. We've got to get these people out of power that all they want to do is drag us into infinite wars, to, destroying our relationships, just taking resources, making us the most hated country in the world. Good to do business with, but ready to attack us if they need to. Not trusting us. I mean, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been ClearTalk. Peace with love. Later.